Hey everybody, this is my video post concerning burnout. As an athlete, I had small bouts of it, but was pretty much able to overcome them. The one situation of burnout that I really had was with coaching. Um, it happened around 2001. 2000 was an Olympic year, and during an Olympic year, you pretty much go 7 days a week for a year. And we had 13 athletes make the Olympics. I was named to the Argentinian staff. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, my son was born week or about a week or so before the games, and so I couldn't go. Um, and so I stayed, and which was fine, and I wound up. So I had the baby, and then the head coach left, and I wound up having to deal with a big situation with a new AD where we got sued. And then we just I just kept coaching through that year, and the way the situation is because we had two programs. Long story short, spent about 40 straight days on the road. With the women's men's national championship, and got home about 1 in the morning, and the alarm clock went off about 5:30 in the morning for a 6 o'clock practice for the other 39, 40 kids who didn't go to the championship meets and who had their break. And when the alarm went off, I lost it and started cussing and screaming, and my wife was like, whoa. And so that's when I knew I needed to be the captain of my own ship, so to speak, working for someone who was kind of a workaholic, and the demands and stress and everything else that was going on. That really led me to, over the next course of the next 3 or 4 months, start to look at other opportunities and take a lot of other things into consideration, especially family. For me, my symptoms were I was tired all the time, second guessing a lot of things that my boss was telling me, having to deal with, I think we had 50 athletes that year. As the head assistant, I was also in charge of all recruiting, including international. And so there was just a lot going on, to say the least. And so physically, just broken down, mentally, just not really into it anymore. And I had kind of known after the Olympics that I needed a break, and I wasn't going to get it. I also knew that I just couldn't keep up at the pace I was going with a new baby and a wife who really didn't enjoy living in the desert, because it was 120 all summer. And so I think it's one of those things where when you deal with it, and when you're in it, you don't really understand what's going on. You're just so focused on the job. But when when all of a sudden it just comes to a point where you dread going to work, you just can't take it anymore, and you realize you need to get out, or you're going to do something stupid or bad, or you're going to get fired, or whatever. I think that's something that as the higher up levels of coaching, and depending on the sport that you go, and now most sports are year round, and you're working in the Pac-12, and the 4 or 5 teams in front of you are top 10 in the country. It's no matter how good you are or how good your recruiting class is, you're really not going to move up. And the funny thing is, like I said, 13 people at the Olympics. We had someone tie the world record the year before and win a national championship. It's nonstop. It's just nonstop. So that's burnout for me. Wound up taking a head coaching job at a much smaller school at the Division I level in California near family, and it worked out. It worked out great. And from that moment on, well, family had always been my priority. But from that moment on, I became a head coach. I was a head coach. I was able to take vacations when I wanted, set the workout schedule up as I wanted, and it's worked out ever since. So that's my story about burnout. Talk to you guys later.